welcome to this episode of Passport to Payments. I'm Mikkis, payments expert at Enfuce, and today I have Garrett from Abarta Consulting with me. Hi, how are you?
I'm good. Great to be with you today. It's great to be in the sauna again.
Yeah.
Bit of fun and great to be here at the event.
So good to have you.
Yeah.
Introduce yourself, please, and your role a bit.
Yeah, so I'm Garrett Cassidy. Currently I am a consultant and hold directorships with a number of regulated businesses. My background is over 30 years in financial services. The short version is recovered from banking at 20 years in financial markets and retail and commercial banking. And recovering fintech founder, spent some time in the crypto space and then built a regulated fintech business from the ground up. Built, regulated and sold. And now I advise both scaling and established financial services businesses on predominantly payments product strategy and business strategy. And just interesting things and help them join the dots and solve problems.
You basically helped companies launch payment cards throughout every stage of the development cycle.
Yeah.
How do you make sure that the end product is bold and innovative?
Well, the first bit of it is somewhat nothing to do with payments. It's what's the customer problem.
Yeah.
We sometimes forget about we get tied up in our solution and our product, but actually what are we trying to solve for the customer? So that's the very first thing. But then it's really about and trying to find something that's a real problem, but solving it in a different way. So there's lots of solutions out there. How do you differentiate? How do you get visible with the customer for that? But also it's important to solve a real problem because, but then in payments, you need to understand the stack. If it's card payments or non-card payments, understand the stack, understand what you're doing yourself, what might you partner with? And then obviously alongside that, where's the regulation? So what do you need to, regulation is table stakes. So you need to understand it. You need to understand what bit falls to you, what bit you can partner for. And sometimes if I'm advising a business, it will be find the partners to prove your proposition. You can always scale into the regulation over time. So I think that's really important. And as said, then, understand how you're going to build it, understand how you're going to maintain it from a customer point of view as you scale, etc., and have those processes in place. But it all comes back to solve a real customer problem in an interesting way.
Having done a little bit of this myself, one thing that is challenging is you want to think about all those things, but you need to move forward in the project. You need to actually launch something.
Yeah.
How do you make sure that you plan, you look at how you run things and future-proofing everything, making it compliant, but you can't do everything all at once. You need to start with something.
I think one of the key things, one is really understanding the customer and where you start.
Yeah.
So you may have a big vision for a proposition for customer, but what's the thing that can get the customer interested and get them on board? And then I think partnering comes into it really quickly. How can you quickly get something in market that you can test with the customers and then iterate? So one of the biggest mistakes is you go talk to your customer, you give that focus, and then you disappear for 2 years. The customer's moved, the customer's changed. So get something in market, prove, and then iterate. And I think that is where partners come in because they can bring some of that agility. And then when you have a proven product, a year or 2 years in, and you're scaling it, then you can look at how you structure that going forward for scale.
Indeed. And that's how you learn from your card base or your customer base and you get feedback from them. So look, regulation never stands still. How can fintech stay proactive instead of reactive when it comes to compliance?
I take this the other way. So fintechs have the agility to actually work with regulation. So whether it be, very old regulation or new pieces, one of the real advantages fintech have is agility. Look at what's changing, look ahead, understand it. But as I said earlier, understanding regulation is table stakes. You've got to invest some time in understanding it. But it's not just new regulation. So my own business, Trezio, we were a payments firm and lender. Consumer credit in the UK is a 40-year-old piece of legislation. We were trying to navigate how to get a modern digital product into that. So you can actually still innovate with that regulation. And then as it changes, it's really staying on top of what's coming next. How can you differentiate with something that's been opened up in regulation? I mean, open banking PSD2, while it's still early in the journey, is an example of that. The fintechs were able to move much faster in terms of delivering services to customers. And they have that agility to get the capability, whether it's direct licensing through partnerships, to actually get a product in market, prove it, and then scale it. And then work with the regulators as they scale to get more deeply, inside the regulation.
Sure.
Yeah.
And what's one innovation or a shift that you think will define the next wave of growth?
So I'm going to say something that's probably going to sound a bit obvious, but it's something I've been involved in for 10 years. So I've been involved in crypto since 2013. And as with a lot of innovations, nothing happens, then it all happens together. Stable coins obviously have clearly hit an inflection point. And I think one of the reasons is that programmability of money, that ability to actually move money 24/7 genuinely around the place without a lot of complexity in the background.
Yeah.
So I think we're still at the early part, but you can see that conversion. And I think that, I'm going to take in the other buzzword, that kind of payment technology is needed to unlock some of the AI agenic thing. Because yes, we can wrap the 16-digit PAN that was designed for a piece of cardboard 50 years ago with a token and try and work it, but really we're still putting lipstick on a pig. So yes, it's moving, but actually, and I think the schemes are alive to this as well. Obviously, they're really deeply embedding stablecoin now in their networks.
Yeah.
So I think it may not change what the consumer sees, but I think it could fundamentally change how the payment rails settle in the underlying rails. So I think that's one that's kind of really interesting and exciting. I think what we've got to be careful of is the consumer might not see that, and that's okay. Mm-hmm. It's actually how do we make the plumbing underneath better?
I like that. Very interesting. Thank you, Garrett, for coming.
Thank you very much.
So good to have you here.
Thank you.